Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a restful 2-week intersession. We're going to go ahead and start our notes for this marking period on equations of perpendicular lines. So go ahead and pause the video, copy this slide into your notebook, make sure that you get everything that's on the left and the right side, and make sure that you're labeling and titling your notes so that when I'm asking you to submit them, we don't have issues with, I don't remember which ones they were. Put a title on your notes. Push play once you're ready for me to explain. Okay, so perpendicular lines refers to two different equations, okay? And the equations will always have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Opposite means that one is going to be positive and the other slope will be negative. And reciprocals means that it's going to be the fraction flipped over. So I have two examples here on the right side. If one line had a slope of -2/3, then the perpendicular line would have a slope of +3/2. I change the sign and I flip the fraction. Another example is if I have a whole number. If one line has a slope of 7, then the perpendicular line will have a slope of -1/7. And the reason for that is, anytime I have a whole number or an integer, I put a 1 underneath it to turn it into a fraction. So this 7 is actually 7/1. I changed the sign, so it became negative, and then I flipped it over. That's how I got 1/7. Another key detail about perpendicular lines is that when they are graphed, the lines will form a 90-degree angle wherever they cross. So they will cross exactly one time, but wherever they cross, they have a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's how you can tell visually if they're perpendicular lines. All right, so go ahead and copy this slide into your notebook. Make sure that you copy the steps on the left and the example on the right, and push play once you're ready for me to explain it. All right, guys, so the first thing we're going to do anytime we're working with perpendicular lines is you have to identify the original slope. So this problem tells me what is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through -3, 4, and is perpendicular to y = 5x + 6. So the original slope on this problem is 5 because the 5 is next to the x. So the original slope, m = 5. But the perpendicular slope, and the way we put a symbol for perpendicular is a line and then a line underneath it, kind of like an upside down T. The perpendicular slope is, first of all, I change the sign. So since it's positive, it has to be negative now. And then I flip it. So remember, I turn a 5 into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. And when I flip it, it becomes 1/5. So this new slope is the one I'm going to use when I'm solving. Okay? Then I use the slope and the given point to find the y-intercept. So I'm going to use my shortcut that we learned last 9 weeks. B = y minus mx. So B equals the y value, I look at the point, the y value in the point is 4, minus the slope, which is -1/5. I'm going to put it in parentheses, and notice how I have minus negative. I can't get rid of that extra negative sign just because there was a minus sign there. I have to include it. And then the x value from the point, so -3. Now for this problem, especially once you're using fractions, a lot of times it's easier for you to use a calculator. And I don't have any problem with you doing that. I've told you guys lots of times, use a calculator if you need it. So there's this really cool calculator called Desmos Online Calculator. And the link is provided to you on our Schoology website, so you can open that up and type this exactly the way you see it. So I'm going to go to that calculator now, and I'm going to type it here. 4 minus parentheses, and then I'm going to make a fraction by clicking this a/b on the right side. -1/5, and I just click in the little boxes, okay? Parentheses. Oops, actually, let me delete that one. I want this parentheses over here. Here we go. A new parentheses, -3. And in Desmos, the negative sign is also the minus sign, okay? So all I did was I typed it exactly the way I had written it here. 4 minus parentheses -1/5 parentheses, parentheses -3 parentheses. That's all I did. I just retyped it. It's going to give you a decimal, but remember in Algebra 1 we don't want decimals. If you click it right here on the side of it, it'll turn it into a fraction for you. So our y-intercept for this problem is 17/5. So b equals 17/5. And then my final step is to write the final answer. So I'm going to write a brand new equation, and let me change the color of my pen, in slope-intercept form. So y equals the new slope, -1/5, x, and the new y-intercept, plus 17/5. Okay? If you get into the habit of using this Desmos calculator, your life will be so much easier when you're solving problems like these. So pause the video if you have to add in these notes, to add in all the work, to add in your final answer, and push play once you're ready for the next example. Okay guys, so the steps are the same for this next example. It doesn't change, but we do have a new example. So pause the video for a minute or two, get this new example in your notes, and then push play once you're ready to go on. All right, so step 1, identify your slope. The original slope that was given to me is m equals -3/4 because that's the one with the x. I need to turn it into a perpendicular slope. So the perpendicular slope, first of all, it changes signs. So since it was negative, it will now become positive, and then I flip the fraction over. So 4/3, positive 4/3, okay? Then I use my shortcut to solve for the y-intercept. So b equals y minus mx. B equals the y value. I look at the point that they gave me. So 2 minus parentheses 4/3 because that's the new slope, parentheses the x value from the point, 4. Again, type this into Desmos exactly the way we wrote it. So I'm going to go to my Desmos screen. I'm going to clear this. We just click clear all. 2 minus 4/3 is 4. So 2 minus parentheses, the fractions over here on the side, a/b. 4/3, close parentheses, and make sure you're putting this big parentheses, okay? Parentheses, 4. And I'm just going to double check that I did type it correctly. 2 minus 4/3 times 4. Again, I don't want a decimal, so click the fraction to convert it. My new y-intercept is -10/3. So b equals -10/3. And then now I'm just going to write my final answer. So it's going to be an equation, slope-intercept form. Y equals the new slope, 4/3, x, and the new y-intercept. And remember in Algebra 1, we don't put double signs. So since this is negative, that means it's going to be minus 10/3. Okay, pause the video if you have to add in stuff to your notes. And then go ahead and come on back to class. Remember, you have to submit a picture of your notes to Schoology for credit. So go ahead and do that now. And then we'll work on guided practice.